So, in my studies last night, I found something that is kind of weird and a little bit mind blowing, and we're just going to talk about that real quick in this video, which is the most interesting chart of the week. And we'll do a wrap up for one of the trades that I gave out here on Monday and how that is related to this. So, first of all, right, if we go and we take a look here at the S&P 500, you can see this is the S&P 500 this year. And we've been obviously in an incredibly strong bull market. We've been pulling back each time we've had any kind of a pullback, we've bounced. But studying these pullbacks, I noticed something really interesting. So I'm going to show you something. This line right here, this purple line, is the anchored VWAP. And I'm always going to, in this presentation, anchor it to the VWAP of the most recent pullback and then see where the next pullback comes. And the reason I think this is important is because we know that there's large institutions and hedge funds that use these VWAPs to fill orders. They set algorithms and say, okay, if we pull into these zones, we're going to set an algorithm to kind of buy around these zones if we have to buy. That's what I'll get to in a second here. But let's just start with the April low, and then we bounce from here. So we put a VWAP right there, and look at where we've come to right there. Okay, so let's put a VWAP on that candle. Well, you can see we pull back. The next little pullback we have, it's only a 1-2 day pullback, hits that and then bounces. Well, that's interesting. Okay, let's put a VWAP right there. Well, the next pullback, we have a 3-4 day pullback into this VWAP, and then we bounce. And then we pull back again into this VWAP, and then we bounce. Well, that's interesting. Okay, let's anchor a VWAP right there. Well, we have a pretty big bounce, and when we come back, that's where we find support, and then we rally to new highs. Well, let's put a VWAP right there. Well, you look at that. We rally, we come back in, we find support right there, and then we bounce. Well, that's interesting. Let's put a VWAP right there. Well, we bounce twice, and then off to the races. Okay, well, let's put a VWAP right there. And we are in yesterday's candle. So every single time we rally and then come back, where we find support is the anchored VWAP before it. And we know that often hedge funds and large institutions can fill orders around these VWAPs. So what does this mean? Well, I think what's happening is that this positioning that I've been kind of pounding the table on this channel and other places for a long time, where most institutions net are short the S&P 500, they're using these VWAPs to fill orders. They're using these VWAPs. They come in, they're looking to fill that order, and then they're looking to bounce from there. So what does this mean for us? Well, if you come to StatsEdgeTrading.com, first of all, if you're not signed up to the free news list, all of this stuff here will get you signed up to the free newsletter. Sometimes I don't feel like turning on the camera. I'll write stuff. I'll also email you every time I put out a video, so you can come check it out. You don't need to, make sure you're following wherever you're following. You can just stay tuned to your emails. We have all these systems that, again, you get for one price, one low price if you sign up for StatsEdge Pro. And we have swing trading, day trading, and investing systems. Well, let's go into what we talked about Monday on QUBT. Well, this system uses anchored VWAPs from major levels. So the system looked at this anchored VWAP right here from major level. And on Monday, on this candle right here, I came to you and said, well, if we pull back into that zone, that's a potential good, that's where our system is telling us to take a buy. Our stop goes down here, and we're going to sell it on Monday. Now, not the most amazing trade in the world, but we're up, 10%. We were up 20%, I think, at the high today. Crazy, it's quantum computers, so it's going to move all over the place like that. But you can tell that if the S&P 500 is filling orders around these anchored VWAPs, it makes sense that individual stocks would also do so as well. So that's what I'm doing a lot of. I'm doing a lot of building and trading this system, and we have some other systems that use anchored VWAP for a potential way to take trades. And again, you can see how well that this one is working, and other trades that I've given on this channel are working, and they're all part of our swing trading systems you can see here. Not the whole thing that we do, but a lot of it, right? There's one of the three systems is anchored VWAP related. So just kind of mind-blowing when I saw all of this stuff happen in one go. So what I'm saying now to myself is that this is now my line in the sand. If this pattern that has been happening all year stops happening, well, that's new information. This isn't the way the market always works, and it won't work like this forever. So when this ends, when this stops doing what it's doing, well, I think then at this point, now it's time to reevaluate. But as long as this anchored VWAP does the same thing as all of the ones before it and holds the support, I will be continuing to be bullish this market. When this one goes and we spend a couple days below this zone, well, then maybe it's time to reevaluate. Again, just something really interesting that I saw in the market. That's something I use in my own trading as well. Shout out to Brian Shannon if you want to learn more about anchored VWAPs. He wrote a book, Maximum Trading Profits with Anchored VWAP. There's a great book. I highly recommend a read on that if you want to learn a little bit more, or come on over to StatsEdgeTrading.com and give StatsEdge Pro a try. And until I talk to you guys next time, get away from the screens.